Hello, my name is Jennifer. Today is the 8th of October, Monday the 8th of October, and this is my little Knitting and Life podcast. I just realized that I've been talking for about 10 minutes and hadn't been recording, which, I don't know, that's a thing apparently that I'm going to be doing. If you don't know me, I am an American, originally from California near San Francisco, and I currently live in northern Scotland in a city called Inverness. It's a pretty small city, and it's absolutely lovely here. As you can see, the colors are changing outside. Autumn is well underway. It has just started raining, so I apologize if that's distracting. I'm sure you can hear it. I find it very soothing. I love being out in the conservatory when it rains. So, moving right along, first things first, works in progress. I started a pair of socks for Christina to be my walking around project, something easy to work on when out and about, and I've already lost them. I started them maybe on Wednesday. I made it I was getting to the point where I was going to start thinking about turning the heel, and I think I had them out with me on Saturday. When we went to leave on Sunday, I couldn't find them. So I haven't given up on finding them, but I don't know when I'm going to be able to retrace my steps to look for them either. So I'll probably just need to start a new pair of walking around, a new project for that. The other one I'm working on in my Halloween bag are my Halloween socks with jack-o'-lantern heels. And these are in West Yorkshire Spinner Air Valley DK. I'm not entirely sure how well these will work for socks. They're a 25 polymid 30% wool blend, standard sock blend. People have used them for socks, but they're going very quickly. They're not ideal for a walking around project because when both skeins are in here, the bag is completely full, and changing every 10 rows means you have to keep track. There's counting, and then you have to do the changes. When I am changing, I'm just doing what I've heard called a Russian join, and I don't know if that's because it's associated with Russia or because it's a way to do it in a hurry, but you kind of double up the yarn and loop them and then just knit across. So later, the ends are pretty much woven in already, just go through and cut them short. So it'll make weaving in the ends a lot faster. Always a concern with colorwork projects if you can't just splice the ends together, which is my preferred way. So I'm making good progress in those, and those are pretty much the only two things I was working on besides my finished object, my Nissolia shawl. This is by Martina Benham. I'm probably pronouncing her name wrong. I should have looked it up. And this is in Ripples Crafts 10th Anniversary Blend Cochrane, which is a lovely, there's a Scottish merino type sheep that this is a lot of the yarn, the blend is from that. It's a special blend she had made just for her. It's soft and lovely. I would say it's probably more of a sport weight than a 4-ply, which is what the pattern called for. So it is enormous, much bigger than the pattern called for. The pattern also calls for 150 grams of 4-ply. I used a fair bit more than that. I used an entire skein, 100-gram skein of the purple for the border, and then had to finish with my leftovers from the diagonal stripes. I had to do about that much in the original purple, so I kind of alternated stripes for a couple inches here just to kind of blend them together. I thought they were a very close match, so I wasn't terribly worried, but I did alternate stripes before I ran out. So it's huge and lovely. I'd used about 69 grams of each, the silver and the purple, just in the body before even starting the stripes, so it used a lot of yarn. If you use a finer 4-ply and get the actual gauge specified, the number of stitches per inch, you will have a slightly more manageable size shawl. This one is large enough to drape around your shoulders like this, and then I can even tie it around my waist, which is a very old-fashioned traditional way of keeping a shawl on while out and about and doing things. But I'm very happy with the way this has come out. So that was kind of my big push, was to finish this one. I was not working on either my colorwork vest or my cardigan that I have on the needles. I only just picked up my colorwork vest yesterday, Sunday evening, and I've done 2 rows. No progress even to show. But I do have, oh, now that I'm recording this again, I forgot to mention that last time, I have a correction for last episode, which is that I said I had an ebook copy, a digital copy of Something New to Learn about helical stripes, and I wanted to see if I could upgrade it to a physical copy. There are no physical copies for this one. It's only a digital copy. So that's my little correction. My close reading skills have not been up to par this last week. So on to, I guess I'll do some acquisitions. I actually acquired things this time. Actually, I acquired a lot of stuff since last we spoke. Starting with Bukala. I believe that's how it's pronounced. It's a Scottish word, so I should really practice pronouncing it, but I believe it's Bukala. And this is one of the few Kate Davies books I didn't already have. And Miss Davies is moving her shop, her inventory, to a larger warehouse. So she had a sale specifically on this book. And this one was released when they launched. She and her husband run the business together. He does all these beautiful pictures. When they launched their new yarn, Bukala, and she did a club kit where you got 1 skein of each color. 1 skein of each color. There are more colors now. And then she did patterns where you could knit all of the patterns using the yarn included, and then there are fancy versions or plain versions of most of the patterns, tips on how to weigh your yarn to make sure you're using that you get the most out of your yarn. So I hadn't ordered the yarn, so I didn't get the book. You could order just the book, but I hadn't gotten it at the time, so I have it now. And when I ordered that, I also bought a pair of her machine knit socks. As a woman who does a lot of hiking, she found it was difficult to find really nice hiking socks in women's sizes, so she decided to make some. I wear a UK 7, which puts me right between her small and her medium size, those being the 2 sizes she does in socks. So I got the medium, and pink was the best of the colors that she currently had in stock that I like. I've worn them once, and I've already got some felting on the bottom. Felting is fine. It's just, that's what yarn's going to do. I've got some pilling, which again is expected in a new pair of animal fiber anything. I expect they'll pill a bit to start with, and then they'll be fine. Everything else will be tightly woven. They seem very comfortable. They're pretty soft. They seem strong. Friday is a day when I do a lot of walking, so I tried them on Friday, and they seem to work out really well. I always like a nice pair of wool socks. I believe that's a wool cashmere blend. Maybe some different things going on there. I didn't make note of that. I'm sorry. The other knitting related thing that I got is Easy Knits finally has more Big Boy in stock, which is one of their custom blends. I think it might even have been their first custom blend. I was not familiar with the dyer at the time, but they finally got more in. I had bought a number of years ago, I'm sorry for the crinkling, one of their gradient kits, and I've already started caking it up, and I did some tests with it and found that the gradient kit, which is only 60 grams and 180 meters, it's the purples that I have in here. It's purple and then it goes through these blues, that it wasn't enough to knit what I had bought it for. And so I kind of set it aside with a mental note to buy more, either to buy another kit or another one of the same gradient kits, or to buy something to be a contrast with it. And it has pretty much been out of stock since then. So I got the purple to go with these ones. So it's slightly lighter than the purple that was the first color in it, which is the center of the pole. So I figured that would just make, I could do, and these ones are 150 grams. Again, it's listed as a 4-ply. It's 70% Exmer blue face, 20% alpaca, 10% nylon. So it's strong and soft. It's listed as a 4-ply, but that seems pretty sport weighty to me. Although I don't think it's quite as large as, it's probably pretty similar. So I consider this more of a sport weight. The UK doesn't tend to do sport weight, so you either get heavy fingering, which is 4-ply, or a light DK. They don't, the category sports weight isn't very common here, but I thought that would work well for the start of my gradient. Anyway, they finally got it back in stock, and so they were discounting. The original blend was 20% off, so I got the purple to go with the gradient set, and then while I was at it, I got 3 skeins of the pink to knit a jumper. 3 skeins at 150 grams, 500 meters should be enough to knit a jumper for me. Not a big oversized one, but something a bit more fitted, or even a cropper, but a regular size jumper, it should be enough. I looked at a lot of patterns to see for my size how much I would need, so that should work out well. Just packing this away again to get crinkle for a bit. And if not, now that they have it in stock again, I can always get a contrast color to round it off, which was also my thought with the blues and the purple, is that if I need to, I can get a silvery color. Silver tends to be my neutral of choice, just to add some contrast. So that's my knitting acquisition. The other thing I got, there's a few more things, is I bought some tights from Snag, which is a new company located in Edinburgh that do tights and anti-chafing shorts, like bike shorts, thin bicycle shorts that you'd wear under a skirt so you don't get chub rub. So they're a new company down in Edinburgh. They do widths as well as lengths. Normally with tights, you just wind up with a longer pair of tights that are then supposed to stretch in the other direction, so you lose the length and get some width, and that works a little bit but not a lot. So if you're particularly chubby, if you're wider than you are tall, it is not a great trade-off. But they do different sizes, so I got 80 is how thick the tights are. Dernier 80 in size F. I got a black pair and a burgundy pair. They were largely sold out of all the others. They were saying on their Instagram account that they've just been much more popular than they had originally intended, and they keep getting stock in and then it's gone the same day. So the factory they're working with has converted more machines to be able to do their sizes. They should be getting more soon. So that's really good, but it comes wrapped up in this, and then my burgundy ones, they seem like a really good quality. I wore the black ones 2 days last week. I left these ones so that I could unwrap them and show you. They seem to be really good quality. So that's an Edinburgh-based company, Snag, and you should check them out. They'll be hopefully getting a lot more stock in soon. Lots of fun colors for nice tights. I hope they'll do thicker ones going forward. Since I like my tights to be thick, I like to be warm. So I got those. And the other thing I got was a new eyeliner, which is this Stila. There we go, Stila. And it is a dark purple, probably very similar to this color, maybe even a little bluer, a little more navy, and has a lot of sparkle in it. So I'm wearing it today with one of the lighter colors I mentioned in my first vlog, and I find it makes a really good, just around the eyes, eyeliner. It's really sparkly, has a lot of shimmer, and it's basically me candy. And one last thing I got, which you can't see, is I got a new bra. I decided I wanted a non-nursing bra that fits. Nursing bras in my size, I was ordering them online because nobody really has them in store. So I was guessing at the size, and the ones I wound up with were too large in the bra band. The bridge, which is the bit between the cups, is supposed to fit flush with your chest, with your rib cage in the front, and mine stood out all the way, like just straight across the front. The band size was too big, the cup sizes were too small, so I finally got a new bra, and getting dressed this morning, looking at it, looking at myself in the mirror, I felt like I looked like I'd lost a ton of weight simply because boobs were up, and suddenly you could see my waistline, the way things are fitting. Like my stripy jumper fits slightly differently now that it's pulling a bit across the front, because having my boobs up and it's making my measurements a little bigger in front. I am so happy. Although Catherine has been wanting a lot of daytime nursing since I bought it, whereas we haven't been nursing a ton during the day. But I figure I can wear it during the day, and then when I'm home for the day, I can change into one of my lounge nursing bras and just kind of slough around and be comfortable, and then if she needs to nurse in the afternoon, we can. So yeah, new bra, and I got the only one they had in my size at the shop. They looked it up and they said that it is the only style bra they had in my size, which is a 40J. By the way, no one needs that much. It's slightly excessively built on top. But a 40J, so I went online and I found a company that specifies in lots of really large cups, sizes, and so I've ordered a few of their sale bras to try and see how I like them. The shop I got it at, not only did I have the only style they had it in, like I had the only one they had in their shop, but it was the only style that came in from their company, although I could order it in white if I wanted to, and I thought, no, I'm okay with that. I don't tend to wear white bras. I tend to wear the shop I found online calls the color either almond or biscotti, depending on the slight shade, which makes me very happy, because nude, when you mean taupe or beige, if you mean your nude to be one of these two colors, that's not nude for a lot of people. So yeah, almond was one of the nude-esque shapes, and biscotti, I think, is the one I wound up ordering, was biscotti. So that's, I approve of that in a company when people think about issues like, is this actually nude on different skin tones? It makes me happy about shopping from that company. So those are the things I acquired this week. And now for what I've been up to. We had a bit of a busy week. Christina decided to go back to enjoy her ball. I know I said last time that she hadn't enjoyed it the week before. They played football, and she said all they did was kick the ball for an hour, and she didn't really like it. I'm sure she had fun while she was doing it. Like anyone who was there would have said, oh, she looked like she was having fun. But she said she didn't want to go back. She'd cried all the way home. So we said, okay, we tried it once. You don't need to do it anymore. And then when I went to pick her up last week, suddenly she wanted to do it again. Her friend was in it and she wanted to go play the games with her friend. So I said, okay, but we had to run all the way home to get her shoes because she had welly boots on. She didn't have her trainers that she would need to run around in the hall. So we had to come all the way home and get her shoes and then race over there and drop her off and then come home. And I had less than half an hour home with Catherine before we had to go back and get her, which was my third and fourth trip out for the day. It rained all day. I was completely soaked through. I was really wishing I had brought my wallet with me, my coin purse, because we would have gotten a bus home. I was just so tired, and Christina is really tired after a whole day at school and then an hour of running around. But she had a lot of fun last week. She even won a trophy. It's just a generic trophy that we have to bring back this week, so I've already put it in the pram along with her shoes, because again, she's wearing her welly boots today. But she won a trophy, so she was really happy about that. Very excited. She said she'd had a lot of fun. Apparently they played a version of freeze tag with balls. The thing is, every week they do things with balls, games with balls. So she'd really enjoyed that. She'd had a really good time, and she wants to go back again today. And then on Wednesday, her school had a fun run where they could wear pajamas to school. And Chris had mentioned me in the morning when he was dropping her off that she's kind of the only one in pajamas, and some of the kids were pointing and, why is she wearing pajamas? So I raced to get ready. I didn't even take a shower or anything. I just threw on clothes, brushed my teeth very quickly, grabbed Catherine, and we raced over to school with a change into uniform for her. She wanted to wear her uniform, but then online other people were saying their kids did have pajamas on just under their coats, and so she was fine. When I picked her up, she was like, no, I didn't need my uniform, which I'm glad she was okay. That's the important thing. I wish I hadn't been in such a panic in the morning about my poor girl, all sad that I sent her to school in her pajamas and everyone else was wearing the uniform. But the important thing is she was okay. So it was a sponsored fun run to raise money for the school, and we never actually got around to asking anyone else to sponsor her. But that's okay, because it turns out I had said we'll sponsor her for £1 a lap. And Chris goes, each. And I'm like, but what if she does 20 laps? We'll owe £40. He's like, that's fine. We'll give them £40. That's fine. She did 37 laps. We owe £74. I'm like, we will just cross out the sponsor sheet. Other parents were saying that they did. Our across the street neighbors did the same thing. Their kid did 32 laps. And so she's like, oh my God, we have to do £64. I'm like, yeah, we're at £74. But yeah, they did £1 each, the mom and dad. So it's turned out to be a bit more money than I was expecting. But Chris is like, no, we'll give him money. I don't care. We'll give him money. We'll give it to him. They need the money for the stuff. They did the thing. Christine did the laps. That's how much money we're giving them. So I don't feel bad that we didn't ask anyone else, because she's going to get a fair amount from us. Some parents were saying they did a flat amount. They said they'd sponsor their kid for 20 quid or however much they felt they could give to this particular cause. And in the future, I think I might just do that myself, because 37 laps is, they weren't huge laps, but 37 laps was a lot more. And she didn't even get anything home saying, this is how many laps she did. So I had gone in the group and I'm like, what did your kids say they did? And they're pretty much all in the 30s. So 37 laps is what she did. She said she was in the middle of the group, so the school should get plenty of money from the P1 parents who didn't know how many laps their kids would do. And then she had swim lessons on Thursday, which was fine. The only problem with swim lessons is it's a half-hour swim lesson, which isn't really enough to do something else with Catherine. But Catherine is such a run around and get into everything baby that it's very stressful. There's a play area So there's a swimming pool, and then there's stadium steps up the side. And then at the top of the stadium steps, there's like a play area with some toddler toys and stuff. But at the top, there's plexiglass sheets so you don't fall down, except where the stairs are. And then there's nothing. There's no gate. There's no barrier of any kind. So every time Catherine runs in that direction, and she runs constantly, I'm worried that she's going to fall down the stairs, and then she'll run off in the other direction down the ramp towards the other pool, because there's the competition pool, and then there's just like the fun pool with slides and water spouts and various things. And so this time I thought I'll take her to the floral hall, which is right across the street. I said we'll go to the floral hall, and we can run around there pretty safely for a while. But then when it was time to go back, Catherine didn't listen. She's not a listening baby. So we were a little bit late getting back to get Christina, and she'd been very upset. I'd left her towel and stuff so she wasn't cold, but she was upset that she'd been left alone, that I wasn't right there waiting for her. So I don't know what I'm going to do with Catherine. If it was just me, I'd go swimming. I'd do laps while Christina's done, and then when she's done, we'd both get up together and get dressed and go home. But getting Catherine ready to go swimming and then getting them both changed again afterwards, it's just too much, including the fact that I'd have to carry everything with us, including Christina's school bag and everything, because we do go right after school. It's just too much. So I don't know what we're going to do about that. And then, sorry, there was a fly. And then on Sunday, Christina's Girl Brigade troop had a little thing at the church. So we attended the service there. It's the Scotland East Free Church. I'm not entirely sure. I assume it's some flavor of Presbyterian, that being the Church of Scotland. But it was a very nice service, and Christina sat with her Girl Brigade troop, and she did really well. She was the shortest one. She was barely able to look over the pews. The other girls were all almost a head taller than her. She said they're all P2s. She's a P1, so they are older. She's the only P1 in the group. But it was a nice service, and we had coffee, and I had tea and biscuits afterwards, and there was a creche for the babies, so that was nice. We would leave Catherine in the creche, and she said she was okay with me leaving her and going back and sitting with Daddy, and she could stay and play with the toys. But then when service was over and I went to get her, when she saw me, she burst into tears. It is the first time we've left her with strangers, and it was a little over an hour, but apparently it was a bit of an adjustment for her. But yeah, creche was nice, because then, she won't sit still, and she runs around and climbs things, and Christina always stayed near. You could do just about anything with her, but Catherine, she's very friendly, very smiley, very happy, but she runs and she climbs, and she does not listen or come when you call or respond to anything she doesn't want to respond to. But the Girl Brigade was nice, and we went for pancakes after at a new pancake shop that had opened in Inverness. And Chris and I liked it just fine, but Catherine pretty much refused to eat, and Christina didn't eat very much. She lives on sunshine and air, and there's not a lot of sunshine going around. But that was pleasant, and we came home, and so that was the day we spent together. Saturday, I was going to come into town. They had a bake sale for her Girl Brigades on Saturday, the Parent Association. I'm not entirely sure what all and who all, but they had a bake sale, so I dropped off some cookies, and then that was when I went to try on bras and run some errands and stuff, and I was just going to leave the girls with Chris and run my errands and then come home and he could do some work. But Christina wanted to go to Belfield Park, which is a nice park that's in town, closer to town, and it was supposed to be nice on Saturday and rain all day Sunday, so I thought, okay, we can go to the park, but there's no point me going into town and running my errands and then coming home and getting her and going back into town. So I'd just take her and Catherine with me. So I took them with me and somehow lost my knitting. I don't know, maybe at the park, maybe at the cafe where we had lunch, maybe on the bus. Those are at least finite places where I can look to see if I can find it again. But we'll see. I'll hopefully be able to find my knitting. I'm very sad that I lost that. If only because I don't have an easy thing to grab with me to take out when I need a knitting to go. Anywho, that's been a little over half an hour of talking. So that's what's up with me. And I will talk to you next week. Thank you for joining me, and bye for now.